Erik Ten Hag has been sacked as Manchester United manager.
He didn't look like a leader to me. He didn't look like he had control of himself. You need someone to change that dressing room culture.
All of us can't really believe how long he lasted in the job.
That inconsistency rears its ugly head again for Erik Ten Hag.
You cannot keep losing matches. You can't be sat in 14th in the Premier League and expect to keep your jobs.
At a big club like Man United, I think you need charisma as well, and I don't know whether he had enough of that.
No, not surprised. It was, I would say, a long time coming.
West Ham 2, Manchester United 1.
Erik Ten Hag will be under the microscope once again, and he is not happy at all.
We United, we want somebody, a proven winner.
Ruben Amorim has been the outstanding young coach in Europe.
I'm intrigued to know whether Ruben Amorim is with Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Clearly it wasn't a surprise. I think it was something that should have been probably done in the summer. He's further away than winning the league than you could imagine. Probably Xavi. I think being at a similar type of club in Spain, one of the biggest clubs in the world, I think he knows what it takes.
So Erik Ten Hag's time as Manchester United boss is over. His tenure included lowest ever Premier League finish in 8th, most defeats in a Premier League season, 14th, list of embarrassing defeats against the likes of Liverpool, remember that 7-0, Man City, Palace, Brentford, Bournemouth, so on and so forth. But he did win 2 trophies, an EFL Cup and an FA Cup. Let's get more on this with the man who called Ten Hag the king of excuses yesterday on The Breakfast Show. Good morning, talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Crookie, how are you?
Good morning. Did I really say something that nasty? Talk about kicking a man when he's down.
Crookie,
the
first thing I've got to say to you is talk about people being in the right place in the wrong place. Jim White must have been devastated jumping on that train. I was howling with laughter. He jumped on that train. Crookie comes in and gets the biggest story going, Mold son, and you handled it superbly well.
You could imagine Jim's tears on that train to Paris, can't you? But yeah, what an extraordinary morning. I mean, we spoke about it yesterday, and I think I'd said to you guys that I'd heard they'd spoken to a manager in a job, so it looked like the writing was on the wall for Erik Ten Hag. I still felt at that point probably he would limp on until the November international break, but Jeff's just read out the stats there. Yeah. Yes, he won 2 cups, and you can't take that away from him. It was a brilliant day out, particularly at Wembley last season for United fans, with that sweet FA Cup success over City. But the league form and the European form, I would suggest, I mentioned that yesterday, no wins in continental competition for more than a year, ultimately is what any manager is going to be judged by, and he fell short. But we talk about potential successors. I heard Paul Scholes there mentioning Xavi. Certainly he's one that United have spoken to as well, but he does look like Ruben Amorim, very much in the box seat. Personal terms between him and United, I'm told, already verbally agreed. It's just a case of agreeing compensation with Sporting. And you look at his record, he's won 2 Portuguese titles. They won at Cancer last season. I've just looked at the table. They're well clear at the top again. 9 wins from 9, 30 goals scored. United have scored 8 goals in their 9 games. So this looks like a very progressive appointment. But I'll tell you what, it's a massive job, isn't it? Because to quote Ten Hag himself, the new Manchester United manager needs to be Harry Potter, and there isn't any magic wand.
Well, look, I mean, as far as compensation is concerned, there's talk it's going to cost them £8.3 million. They should write a cheque out here and now, shouldn't they? How quickly could he be in the building? Could he be there today?
I think it could happen quite swiftly. Once you've got that agreement on the manager's side, that's a fairly big hurdle to overcome. The compensation is a little bit complicated because while it's being billed as £10 million, so 10 million euros, about £8.3 million, that's a gentleman's agreement that if a top European club come in for him, that's the compensation package. I think officially in his contract it's 20 million euros. So we'll see if Sporting stick to their word or if United maybe have to do a bit of negotiating.
It's a drop in the ocean, isn't it, when you compare what you pay for bog ordinary players? If you want the manager of your choice, pay the compensation.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it actually has always baffled me, not just United, but clubs up and down the land, as you say, will pay 50 million quid for an average left back, but they won't pay a decent compensation fee for a manager. But that just seems to be the way of the world. But one of the things I did say yesterday was that there's no excuses for Ineos not to get this wrapped up quickly, because we know they've been actively sounding out targets right back to the summer, and they've been doing it again over the course of the last few weeks. So they should know, and it looks like they do know in Amorim, who their top target is. And it's up to Jim Ratcliffe and Dan Ashworth and Dave Brailsford, who I understand met Amorim as recently as last week, to get this deal over the line and get it over the line quickly.
Crookie, thank you very much. Got to move on, Crookie. Thank you very much indeed, because we want to get more info on the man we think is going to be coming into Old Trafford, the Sporting Lisbon boss, Ruben Amorim. Here to tell us about him, European football expert Kevin Hatchard. Morning, Kev.
Morning, Kev.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Yeah,
we're in good form, Kev.
Very good, Kev.
Are you surprised at how quickly things seem to be moving along here, Kev? I mean, Jeff and I were saying it's probably the right thing to do, correct thing to do, but has it surprised you a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, because obviously we haven't known Manchester United for necessarily decisive action recently. But I think I can completely understand why they're going for him. He has been one of the most enterprising young coaches in European football for quite some time now. And you look at the success he's had, not just at Sporting, but actually at Braga before that, because I think the thing, when you think of Amorim, the thing to really remember is that he was promoted from within at Braga, and within 2 months, he'd already delivered their first win at Benfica for like 65 years. I think he won his first game 7-1. They won the Taça da Liga. So he, in that first 2 months, had done enough to convince Sporting to pay €10 million to get him out of his contract. So you knew already he was a guy that was doing special things really, really quickly. And having got to Sporting, he managed to get them to fourth. And in his first full season, he delivers the Primera Liga title for the first time in 19 years. So this is a guy that delivers, but he delivers quickly. And that's obviously what Manchester United need if they're going to save this season.
Obviously, if he can get a tune out of these players, what sort of football would he play? Will it excite Manchester United fans?
It will, but there's a pragmatism there as well. They do play possession-based attacking football, but if you look at that season where they did win the Primera Liga title the first time, they only conceded 20 goals. And I think the goalkeeper, Adan, had 19 clean sheets that season. He's made no secret of the fact that he's got an admiration for Jose Mourinho, and he actually went to visit Mourinho when Mourinho was the Manchester United manager. That was back in 2018, I think. So it's that mix. Yes, they play exciting football. Anyone who's watched them will know that. There's a lot of width in their play. They get the wing-backs involved. They did have Pedro Porro before he went to Spurs. They also had Nuno Mendes before he went to PSG. And now he's got some very exciting wing-backs there as well. So, yeah, they do play exciting football. They score goals, but they've got that structure as well.
Kev, tell me a little bit. I've just had a quick look back. They look as though they play 3-4-3. You mentioned the wing-backs, Coenda and Santos. Is there anybody in that team that would excite you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at, obviously, what's really interesting about this season and last season, actually. So Gyökeres went there, who we know, of course, from English football. And he had to change slightly because he was used to having a more fluid front three. He had Paulinho there, who was more of a centre forward. But he also was quite happy to have a fluid front three. Gyökeres went there and he went, okay, I can change this slightly. And he scored buckets of goals ever since getting there. Pedro Gonçalves has been a really big player ever since he got there. In that first title season, he got 23 goals from midfield. He's got more goals than anyone in the league that year. And the second season they won it, he was like double figures for goals and assists. So he's been brilliant. He did have, not anymore, but Sebastian Coates, who Liverpool fans will remember. He was a massive part of that title success first time around. Really, really strong at centre-back. There's license for one of those centre-backs to get forward and help out. Sometimes you'll see that. You often see that, don't you, with 3 centre-back systems. You'll get one of the centre-backs coming forward and moving into midfield. So, yeah, I think there should be a real excitement. I think anyone who says, well, he's managed in Portugal, can he really manage in the Premier League? Yeah, Arne Slot's done all right coming from the Eredivisie. So, personally, I don't think that's a huge barrier.
Kev, thank you very much.
Thanks,
indeed.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you. United fans, it's you we want to hear from this morning, just on what Kevin was saying there. Morning, men, says Rory in Ireland. It's the Portuguese league. Relax, settle down. Look how big Ange is doing after moving from Celtic. Just relax.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.